Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture bright, come along with us, ignite the night. Shaun's got the joystick, he's ruling the zone. Gaming world's his digital crone. From pixels to planets, he's never alone. In the realms we conquer, the seeds are sown. Jordan's gaming flair, he's got the beats. Pixel quests and high score feats. Pop culture vibes with endless repeats. In our podcast, he's on the streets. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture bright, come along with us, ignite the night. Brandon's in play with a pixel blade drawn. Quests and controllers from dusk till dawn. XP stacking, the leaderboard's gone. In gaming's heartbeat, he's the spawn. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture bright, come along with us, ignite the night. Digital roar. Brent's got tech, he's laying the lore. From circuits and chips to the cyber core. Plug in and we'll give you more. Matt's on the edge, watch those pixels fall. He cracks the code, solves it all. Dark web secrets, firewalls tall. In the cyber jungle, he's the call. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture bright, come along with us, ignite the night. Shaun's got the joystick, he's ruling the zone. Gaming world's his digital crone. From pixels to planets, he's never alone. In the realms we conquer, the seeds are sown. Jordan's gaming flair, he's got the beats. Pixel quests and high score feats. Pop culture vibes with endless repeats. In our podcast, he's on the streets. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture bright, come along with us, ignite the night. Brandon's in play with a pixel blade drawn. Quests and controllers from dusk till dawn. XP stacking, the leaderboard's gone. In gaming's heartbeat, he's the spawn. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky. With tech and games and culture.
Good evening, folks. Happy Monday. We are live again. It is that time.
Matt is weird.
And Matt is weird.
I
We were
am not
just having a
weird.
conversation, so we decided to go live and bring it into the stream. Why is Matt weird, Brandon?
Matt uses split keyboard
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, I'll try to pull
among
it
a
up.
lot of other things. Let me be clear about this. Matt is weird for a lot of
Not
reasons.
weird. Can you guys see it? So yeah, it's connected like this. It's got these little tenting mounts on there, and it's not weird. It's awesome. You know, I don't know anybody who actually wants to sit with their hands like this, despite the way, you know, or even worse, one that has no wave and they're just like this on the keyboard. And this one's great because you can just sit with your arms just you know, straight, I guess.
It's kind of like a Joy-Con experience, like the split Joy-Con control mode where you can just kind of have your arms down by your side and play games.
See, I would be afraid because I can't play games like that. I like my muscle memory fails me when I try to do like the Joy-Cons,
I don't do
anything
it
but
often.
a normal.
Yeah.
So I feel like I would learn. I
I
would
would
stop knowing how to type if I tried to use a split keyboard.
I mean, in the defense of that, you know, I always bring this up, but the Azeron.
Yeah,
for
so
gaming. I mean,
that thing's
you could,
freaking dope.
you could have a similar argument for this guy.
Is that glove again?
This?
Yeah, is that what that is?
It's not a glove. It's
It has the hand. Do you actually use it?
yeah. Yeah, I love it. Hand goes in it just like that. And that's
And
it.
what games do you play with it?
Primarily,
That's a real question.
I mean, really, anything you can play with it, but I tend to gravitate more towards FPS or shooters with it. Just because that's what I have strong muscle memory on that thing now for that. Like my reload's always in the same spot. My sprint's always in the same spot, jumps in the same spot, so on and so forth. Same with like hero shooters. Like my primary abilities are always on the same keys. So my left hand just knows. I did train myself how to use it in WoW, and it's phenomenal. Once you get the hang of it, especially depending on like what class you're playing. I was healing with it. I leveled up. The last time Andy and I were really playing, I leveled up an Evoker, whatever the healing spec is for Evoker. I can't remember it right now, but from 1 to whatever the damn max level is, 80, all on the Azeron, all the way through. And I was group healing and cussing at the tank constantly because they were doing dumb shit. But you know, but yeah, it's strong, or I should say steep learning curve. But man, is your hand so much more comfortable in the same period of time. If you compare like a 4-hour stretch of gaming on the keyboard, WSAD versus Azeron, a huge improvement.
That's what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
That's
So
what
I
I'm
get
talking about.
that argument. I get. I've never tried a split keyboard.
Man, the next level up is you guys may not know this, but there's like another level past this to where you get to ortholinear keys. And so if you look at, for those who don't know what ortholinear keys are, if you look at a keyboard, they're staggered, right? But ortholinear keys are just straight up and down. So your Z sits directly above your Q sits directly above your A, which sits directly above your Z. So I put in a couple examples of like dream keyboards for me if I ever make it rich and I can just try some things out. One is the ultimate hacking keyboard, which despite its like name is actually pretty cool, and it has these little customizable modules and mouse that you can stick on there. And that one is not ortholinear; it's the staggered variety. And then I put on the Moonlander, which is like the one I should aspire to buy, but I'm scared to.
So this is the second. Okay, so the second. Let me look at this.
Yeah, and so that one's an ortholinear one. And that one makes me a little nervous. You know, I'm concerned that like splitting to ortholinear will like change my typing habits because like the Q is in a different spot now. You know, it's straight up instead of off to the left. And I'm afraid if I try to like go back to my normal desktop, it'll be kind of painful. And even worse, God, my wife is not going to accept an ortholinear keyboard when she's never used one.
I don't think I could ever do that.
No, it's supposed to be way better for your hands though.
This thing looks cool as hell, though.
Which both
it
of them,
looks
or which
good.
one?
Well, I'm looking at the Moonlander right now.
The
How much does this
Moonlander
guy
looks good. man.
I don't know. I like the
Woo.
ultimate hacking keyboard.
Ooh,
better.
baby, $365.
Oh yeah, man.
Hey, look at that, guys. But shipping is included.
Oh, thank
So-
God. Another one that I've definitely thought of getting at some point. You guys buckle in for some weird stuff. Is the Kinesis Advantage 360, and so I have the Kinesis Freestyle 2, I think, and this one's like another layer up where you start getting into these like cupped style keyboards that you like lay your palms on and cup into. Brent was like, what?
I see that. Yeah, look at that. Look at the curvature of those keys. That's crazy.
Mhm.
I feel
400
like that would hurt my hands,
It's $499, ladies and gentlemen. for that bad boy.
and that would hurt my soul.
All right, the pro version of it doesn't have a cable between it, so you can just run it like raw without any cabling at all. And
If you
just
pay
got
them that much money, they've already ran you raw.
They've
it
already
is
gotten it.
$500 and they're out of stock.
Because they make like runs of 5.
Are you a
Oh,
It
chance
may
to
be
be looking
great,
one
but
too?
that's a
Though?
lot of money,
What'd you-
and that's coming from somebody who has spent a lot of money on keyboards.
yeah.
Um,
What did you say, Brent?
I said the ultimate hacking keyboard's a decent looking one too. I like that they all have great options for switches.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the ultimate
Um,
hacking keyboard I really like because of the options to put in the mouse right there.
Oh,
Yeah, so you get these. You have different, and you got different modules. You can get a trackpad, you can get like a trackball or a track point, like you see in the center of it, or you can get the touchpad module, and then you can put in the key cluster as well. And then the
I
problem
ain't
with
gonna lie, I really like this one. Like, this is going on my list of like potentials.
the ultimate hacking keyboard.
Yeah.
Yeah, right.
I like the color options too.
Yeah.
So I am all for crazy expensive keyboards. But I have to sell a house or something to get it. That's the only time I get them.
Yeah, I
It's
got
like,
it.
usually I've sold a house. And it's like, what could I do? I could buy a keyboard.
Yeah, I would say there's a couple things that frustrate me about it. One is that the riser kit is $100, and after using a tinted keyboard, the idea of not having my keyboard tinted is offensive to me. I had to go into the office and use a normal keyboard today, and I was like, this is not okay with me.
oh, you don't haul the Kinesis with you?
Nah, I mean, if I had to go for any period of time, I had to just show up. And let's be honest, I spent most of my morning factory resetting my computer for just reasons that are testing gone awry. This is what I'll just put it as.
Gotcha.
So, they're expensive.
I mean,
man.
I get it. I look that Azeron, at least right now, I don't remember how much I spent for it, but their website, the conversion showing like $230. So, I mean,
Man, that's definitely one I've thought about getting, but I don't really have the desk space to have another thing. I've already got that joystick that I bought for the Star Wars game, collecting dust sitting there still. Yeah, that we played
such,
for
a, such a limited use accessory these
But
days.
I mean, at $30,
Yeah, who
it's
cares, really, in the
great.
grand
Yeah.
scheme of things, yeah. Tried
Hey,
and true, man.
I used it with what was it, Ace Combat, and I borrowed my buddy's HT Vive.
Mhm.
That was pretty awesome. I mean, I did it with the controller, also just trying out different things to see what felt best. And man, ooh, baby, that felt good. Same thing with Overload. Cranking that thing in Overload is with the visor on is something else.
I tried it one time with the Star Wars game. What is this? Squadron? Is that what it is?
Yep,
Squadrons?
Squadrons.
I did that exact setup. I had the joystick set up. I put it on my Quest 2. I had it cable linked and did the, being able to look around the cockpit while you're flying in one direction. It had me super nauseous, but I think in retrospect,
That's a lot.
I think some of my issue is the fact that I would have a much better time on the Quest if I got prescription lenses for it.
Mhm.
I think my
Sure, for
eyesight
sure.
has gotten bad enough at this point where using that in conjunction with also not having my prescription glasses on just makes me nauseous.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I think if I were able to get back into it, I would go ahead and invest in prescription lenses.
It's well worth the money. That's what I
Yeah.
had which I'm getting rid of my Quest because I barely use it.
My kids use it way more than I do. I have the Quest 2 still, and I don't know. Something really appealing would have to come out for me to be like, oh, let me do the Quest 3. And I will say, like, it is the gateway to play things like Half-Life Alyx, and Half-Life Alyx is so good.
Really? I've heard that
yeah.
over and over again.
It's just, I mean, it's Half-Life, right? Like it's
Yeah,
tried and true
right.
sense. It's just really well polished. They take advantage of
And look-
everything that you can use on it. So
It costs just as much as one of those Kinesis Advantage Pro 2 Pro keyboards.
what, the Quest?
Yeah,
Quest
same
3,
price as the keyboard.
Yeah. Yeah.
Dang, that's fun.
I do recommend if you ever get a Quest, though. I don't know what the new one comes with specifically, but there are some great accessories. I have mine mounted to my desk.
This
but
one is you like
these
those
back
types of
pieces
things.
that
Yeah,
really
you have
grip
to
the
get
back of your head.
a better one.
Yeah, you got to
That's
get a better
unfortunate.
one. This thing
That's
just
so
completely
frustrating.
attaches. And then this also holds a magnetic battery, so you get like double the life of the actual headset. And it has a wire that plugs into the side to feed that battery to it. But this just helps balance the whole thing out, especially if you're bald like me. That these little things, it's like a suction cup. It's like a damn squid sucking onto the back of my head. And then then you're good to go. But yeah, like I said, my kids use this thing way more than I do, especially my youngest. She loves it. She'll jump in the Roblox and play VR games in there. And let's hit the mic, sorry. But good. I mean, great stuff. There's some great shooters in there that are a lot of fun. Where I mean, you're actually, picking up ammo off your belt and reloading the gun and racking the magazine and all these things. And like, I mean, you're doing that while getting shot at by other players, and you got kids screaming in the background, like all this crap, because voice chat's enabled by default on some of these games. There's
I was
one that
just
I used to
assuming your
play.
kids were in the background saying,
Yeah,
"Let
that's
me
what I was-
play."
That's
No,
what
I
I was
play.
assuming too.
Not these days. It's little kids playing the VR, but it's I mean, it's great, like taking a sniper and just blowing them away in the game. So, they are a lot of fun. So speaking of games, we'll kind of segue into our roundtable. What have you guys been playing? I'll go last since I've been talking the most.
Okay, I'll go first. So I beat Claire Obscure, finally.
I'm jealous.
Yeah, I did. I think I need to go beat it again because I think I picked what would be considered to be the not good ending, and I think that maybe there's a good ending that leads to some different results. And
Okay.
just a guess based on what happened versus what people are describing in the chats. So may go check that out. Probably not, because I'm pretty sure I know how that works out.
We don't replay games around here. Very
I
rarely.
mean, like I do.
You
but
replay Disco Elysium.
yeah, I do.
I downloaded Disco Elysium. the other
Have you
day.
played it?
Oh
You
yeah,
surely-
I
love
Disco.
I was like, that's
Elysium.
stupid. Of
But
course.
I was going through my GOG library as I do every now and again just to see what I own in that. I don't remember. And
I just love that game.
I was like, Cyberpunk, I have never actually played it. I've just kind of dabbled a little bit. So I was
Yeah,
like,
sure.
let me download that. I might do that. And then I saw Disco Elysium and I was like, that's the only game I ever, maybe ever, that isn't like maybe a roguelike or something, that I beat it and I immediately started another playthrough.
Yeah, I did too. I turned around
I
and I
don't
was like,
do
we're gonna
that
do
at
that
all.
back. Totally different.
I was like,
Um,
I never do that. I didn't finish that playthrough, but
That's
that was
fair.
still something for me. It was like, guys,
I need to try a not shitbag cop playthrough where like I lead Kim to believe that I actually have it together, because there are some playthroughs where I think you can do that, where you can leave Kim with you can keep him in the dark of most of your neuroses. If you
God,
are
I think
so
he had me
inclined.
figured out like an hour into the game
Oh,
because
man.
of my choices.
The last one I was just like, the last one I was friends with Kudo. So there you go. I did. Yeah, I did all
Oh, I'm
types of
trying to
bad
think
things.
of
That
who-
tells you everything you need to
Yeah,
know
if you
about
play the
Matt.
game, yeah.
I mean, the character that Matt played.
He friends with Kuno. They similarly aligned goals. He's the dude out back throwing rocks. I'm not going to say any more than that.
Okay. Yeah.
If
Okay.
you know, you know.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I finished Claire Obscure. Game is good. The battle system is just not 100% for me. I think perhaps the most frustrating thing for me in that game was like there's lots of battles that you theoretically could win if you had skill early on, but it takes much longer. And I don't know. I found some of that frustrating knowing that I would have to come back or like be good for 30 minutes straight. And I don't know. Didn't work for me.
I
quite
found
as much.
myself really wishing that they
Uh-huh.
had a automatic.
Like an like an auto resolve type thing or what?
Yeah, just
Yeah.
take away the quick time.
Yeah.
They have it for when you're attacking, but they don't have it for when something's
Oh,
attacking
for when
you.
the defense is happening. Oh, interesting.
I
Yeah.
just because there were some I just couldn't get the cadence in time to not suck, and I don't like replaying things. That's why
Yeah.
a lot of times I just stop. If I'm playing a game and then I die and the save point is like 30 minutes back,
Goodbye. You're done.
I'm probably not playing anymore because
That's
I'm like,
funny.
I just did this. Like I quick save every few seconds in Baldur's Gate and that kind of
That's
game.
fine.
Like I'm like F5 all the time because I don't want to repeat anything.
Yeah, bet. So I'm left with kind of this weird feeling of the game where, maybe it wasn't for
Might be
me.
shingles.
I did. What did you say?
So I'm left with this weird feeling. I said it
Yeah,
might be
like the
shingles.
shingles. I guess I don't know about that. But even though I recognize the gameplay wasn't for me and that I almost put it down and like dropped it, the story is very unique, and the art direction and audio
Oh, so
direction is fantastically unique. And I mean, I definitely see why it's gaudy, just because I don't like the combat style. Like the combat was still good and like just not for me necessarily. But I mean, like I know when I have something well put together versus crap in my hands at this point, I think. And I think the game's pretty great. Overall, it's a great game. All right, next, what am I playing? I finally picked up Last of Us. And I am for the first time working my way through Last of Us. And I've
Another game
definitely
I'm playing through.
I've definitely had some moments where I'm like, man, this does align with that show, right? Like right one for one. And so interestingly enough, I think I'm gonna pick up Last of Us 2 after this one, and it's going to delay me in watching the show. So I get my first like pass through the game instead of through the show. And then in a surprise turn of events, or maybe this isn't a surprising one, my wife and I beat Rogue Heroes, Legend of Talos or whatever. Game is very good. I recommend it. It's a little buggy, but whatever. But we have replaced it with Stardew Valley, which I think is I think it's the only cozy game I've ever played. Like that is like a straight up cozy game.
How many hundreds of hours have you played yet?
We have played 5. We played yesterday.
500? No.
No, we played 5. No, yesterday we booted it. We played 5. We played for a few hours, and then like we took a break, and then my wife came back and was like, "Do you want to play again?" And we played another couple hours, and she did not request to go watch Grey's Anatomy until like 10:30 almost, which for her is like usually at 9:30. She's like, "All right, time for Grey's Anatomy or whatever." And she said overnight she had dreams of farming, which I thought was pretty funny.
I love me some Stardew Valley.
I don't know if I'm gonna like it. You know what, man? For like to work with the wife, I'm pretty happy to just like putz around the video game. She seems to like it for whatever reason. So
That's
That
cool,
game has some oddly deep storylines going on
mm.
if you get to know the characters.
Oh, am I impacted? So I picked the Four Corners farm. Does that matter for that? No, same
No, not
characters
for-
every time.
Yeah.
Okay.
Everything else is the same
Just the map.
besides your farm.
Okay.
Um,
We named our farm the Farm Farm. I was like, what should you name our farm? And she was like, the farm. And I was like, all right, the Farm Farm it is.
there's I think I haven't tried any of, but there's so many good mods out there for that.
Oh,
So
shoot. I hadn't even thought
I keep
about the mods.
considering going back and being like, do I just install one of these huge, like, entirely changes the game mod? I love Stardew Valley. It's
It's a
really
good
great.
one. I did a good pick, huh?
I mean, if you're going to play that kind of game,
Yeah.
then that's the one you should play in general.
Okay. Well, I'm glad I picked it. You know, I've got this feeling that my wife will like it.
Is it
Oh.
Shingles?
No.
Interestingly enough, I suggested that to Mandy recently, and she played it for like, I don't know, maybe 30 minutes to an hour. And she's like, it's all right.
I thought I liked her.
She's not, she's not, believe it or not, she's not big on like retro style graphics. That was her big turnoff.
That's a stopper for her.
I guess that was a stopper. Yeah, see, she's not my thing. And I think it's mostly the graphics.
Is that true,
I get
Mandy?
that.
Is it?
I mean, I don't.
Is it the graphics specifically? Ms. Mandy Keens.
Let's see. I'm curious if I came to the correct conclusion there.
Well, if you
Yeah,
want
it's the
Farming
graphics.
Simulator
Look at that.
recommendations that aren't pixel, I just got to go down my library, and I can get you like probably 10. I really do have a problem, guys.
Yeah, because
That
I was looking
loop,
forward
I
to
can
it.
play it in any game for 10 hours, and it doesn't.
Wow.
I was looking forward to. I was like, well, shit, we'll buy it on, because I gave her my OLED Switch when I got the Switch too, and I was like, well, we'll do it on the Switch and just lay in bed and play Stardew Valley multiplayer. You know, do it on the Switch, and I was like, but go try it out first, see if you like it, because I already have it on that system.
Yeah.
And she just wasn't into it. I was like, well, that idea's out the window. So
Yeah. Well, it's.
Well, speaking of farming simulators,
Yeah,
are you
what you
done,
doing?
Matt?
Yeah, I was gonna say it's a fun game.
I am continuing to play Fantasy Life I. It's not actually a farming simulator, but it does have farming in it. But it's that kind of cozy, you know, grinded out game with more combat than your typical style of that game. But really fun, just grinding out levels in each of the, lives, but classes basically. You got like 4 combat classes. You got a paladin, which is sword and shield, mercenary, which is a 2-hand weapon, and then a hunter and a magician. And then the rest of the classes are like blacksmith, carpenter, lumberjack, etc., etc. And yeah, just really awesome game with nice colorful graphics, which is my thing. I like feeling like I'm in a Mario game in general, or a Nintendo game. It's not Nintendo, I just like it's got that kind of aesthetic.
yeah.
Yeah, really like it. I'm probably, oh heck, how many hours have I got in it? Because I've kind of zoned out several times as well, as you do sometimes. 27 so far. And the other game I started playing was Halls of Torment, which is Vampire Survivors like. If you've seen those crop up.
Yeah.
But it's got like.
Is that the genre? No, it's reverse. No, it's reverse bullet hell. I think is what the genre is called.
Yeah, maybe. I've when people talk about them, they say it's like Vampire Survivors. That's in terms of like when I people describe them. But the Halls of Torment has like, look, it's got reviews overwhelmingly positive with 28,000 reviews. So it's pretty good. I like it. So if you like Vampire Survivors, it's got a little. It's just got more stuff going on. You've got like equipment. You've got you. It's just like Vampire Survivors with a little bit different aesthetic. It's got more of like a Diablo 1.
I was gonna
aesthetic.
say it feels like I saw this. I was like, oh look, it's Diablo.
Yeah, I mean it doesn't play like Diablo.
No, obviously not. I can see that right away.
But it definitely does look. It has that little bit of a claymation type feel to the graphics. And I've unlocked like 4 characters, which isn't a lot, but the one I played the most was it's just this guy and he's got a flamethrower and you're just lighting everything on fire for 30 minutes. And I'm like, I'm enjoying myself right now, which says something about me, but Oh.
It's also coincidentally, it's $6.66.
Nice. I didn't notice that. I haven't bought it. I've had it in my library for probably
good.
When did it come out? September 2024. That's probably when I put it in my library because I remember seeing it and I think it was on sale and I was like, meh, I like Vampire Survivors, so I'll probably like this.
Developed
I've
and
just never
published
got
by
around to playing
Chasing
it.
Carrots. Interesting.
What about you, Brent? What are you playing?
Oh man. Well, I've been busy recently, as you guys know, but I've got a playthrough of Last of Us going. That's the reason I commented on your comment there, Matt. I picked it back up on the PS5. That was kind of my veg out on the couch, and Mandy and I are doing exactly like you said, replaying that again because I made it probably 3/4 of the way through it on PC, and I get it as part of Game Pass, or not Game Pass, but the PlayStation Plus on the PlayStation. I'm like, well, I'm just gonna play on the couch with surround sound and everything. It's just better, bigger screen. So, and we're comparing it to the show. So that I was doing. Obviously, Claire Obscure is still on my list of things. I've been playing my social game or my multiplayer game recently has been Elden Ring Night Rain. Painful, ass kicked quite a lot in that, but strangely addicting. I don't know. And then yes, I did pick up a Switch too. So I've been playing this guy, and I've started a whole new playthrough of Breath of the Wild because the kids love watching me play both the Zelda games. I've not finished Tears of the Kingdom because I was starting to get to sections of the game where I was building such elaborate crap that the original Switch was like dying in my hands rendering half that crap. Like the physics engine was just crippling the Switch. Now that I've got the Switch 2 editions of both games and they're locked at 60 and they look 10 times better, I'm like absolutely stoked to be able to play through both the games again. So it's one of those cases of like I don't even mind playing through the original anymore because it's just so damn it's quite literally like a different game. Both in visuals and obviously the performance. Like it just handles so much better. Like things like you don't necessarily think about it because you don't have a choice outside of emulating it to get better performance. But using the bow in Breath of the Wild and being able to like accurately aim that very quickly to get a shot off, 60 FPS.
Does mouse
locked.
support work?
I don't know about it in Zelda. I've not tried it in Zelda. I haven't
heard of it. I was just
anything.
curious.
Yeah, I haven't heard anything in regards to that, but just general controls, man, because it's locked at 60. So good. So, and so many things have been updated, like weird things like Link's Awakening, which is a cool little highly stylized, like isometric version of Zelda that came out on the Game Boy way back in the day. Really great game. I loaded it up. It's got performance improvements. It's locked at 60, smooth as butter. Really great.
It doesn't have the stutter that it had.
Nope. All that's gone.
I had to stop playing. Like I couldn't play it.
Oh, it was bad.
I don't mind low frame rate. I really struggle with something that's like normal stutter. Like
yeah,
it just I don't like it. So I didn't even play that game outside of like 10 minutes.
Yep, it's all gone. I actually rolled credits on it. I had a save that was literally within an hour and a half of rolling credits. So I loaded it up on the Switch 2 and finished it on the Switch 2. It was great. Gosh, yeah. I mean, overall, obviously, it's still underpowered by like gaming PC means, but it's pretty on par, even with like some of the other handhelds, only because of the first party support and just the very deeply rooted NVIDIA technology that they built into it. it does really well. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen like the Cyberpunk reviews, but people are really happy with its performance on the Switch too. Overall, it's a great way to experience the game. Which, if you had told me that 2 years ago or however long ago it's been when Cyberpunk came out, I would have told you you're crazy as hell. That's never going to happen. But here we are. So
Here we are. Yep.
I've enjoyed it. It's been a lot of fun. The family and I have enjoyed playing Mario Kart World. Mario Kart World's really great as well. Nothing groundbreaking necessarily outside of the free roam, and even that's somewhat limited, but a good iteration on the series. A lot of good tracks. It's almost like Tony Hawk meets Mario Kart. With the new mechanisms, because there's rail grinding and wall riding and
Oh wow.
all this stuff, and people are like skipping sections of tracks by grinding onto walls and then hopping off the wall onto another section of track. It's ridiculous.
God, speed running is going to be awesome.
Oh yeah, it's absolutely ridiculous. Check out some like TikToks or Instagrams or whatever your short form choice is. Go look at Mario Kart World on there. You're gonna be like, I'm screwed. I played online a few times, and it really is a humbling experience. Because when you whoop everybody in your family for like a decade straight, and then you jump online and get absolutely demolished, yeah, it's bad. And it's 24 people or 23, including and then with you obviously. So, it's just a lot of shit going on, man. It's so much chaos. You'll be in first, and then you're in 24th. Like in a split second, because you just get absolutely blown away by blue shell, red shell. You get smashed because someone's got the big mushroom. You get ran over by a bullet, and boom, last place. After running a perfect line the whole game, so it's rough, but yeah, good stuff. I'm excited to see. I think they dropped a little bit early, I feel like, with the hardware, because they don't have a lot really ready for it specifically, first party.
Yeah, that's kind of like my feeling on it, where I was like, I just can't justify a Switch 2 for Mario Kart.
I think Nintendo is going to drop some shit though that's going to be real serious on it. I am looking forward to next month with Donkey Kong, the Bonanza game, because that's supposed to be kind of their like flagship game for now. Is that game that's supposed to be like the replacement of Odyssey? And Odyssey
not Mario, Metroid drop.
I don't know about. Yeah, you're talking about the Metroid 4 Prime or whatever it is.
Metroid Prime 4.
Yeah, I don't know. That's supposed to be really great too, though. Everything I've seen with that looks phenomenal, and it makes me want to go and play. I never bought it, but surprisingly, it's only $40 straight from Nintendo. But Prime Remastered, it's supposed to run and look really great on the Switch 2 as well.
I guess they haven't announced the release date yet. I don't
remember seeing it. I know that Donkey Kong comes out next month, though. I will definitely be buying that.
Because I know Metroid Prime 4 is like is the other like tentpole that they've announced.
Right.
I don't think they've announced any other major first party games.
No, a lot of upgrade packs, which kind of a cop out almost. But I appreciate the Zelda ones. Obviously, they needed it. Such beautiful open world games that honestly wasn't
frustrating.
It was a testament to the devs that they could even get something so grand working on such a underpowered system in the first place.
Now that part I agree with.
Yeah. So if they can do it,
especially the first one, like it didn't run excellent, but for what it was really breathtaking. No pun intended.
Man, I'm still impressed when I booted that thing up. I bought that Switch and I borrowed Breath of the Wild and I booted it up, and right away I was like, man, look at this little thin piece of hardware that's running this, right? Like, it wasn't perfect, but dang, man. Like, the fact that the hardware could run it at all was impressive.
I think that Nintendo, I give them a lot of credit for being able to make such thin hardware. And the Switch 2 is the exact depth as the Switch 1.
Wow.
And like if you compare it to Steam Deck or the Ally, like
Yeah.
nothing is that thin, and it's really impressive.
It is a nice form factor, and I mean just like the first one, the Joy Cons are made better, especially in handheld mode with a case. So I've got the when I held it up, it's
Yeah.
got the grip around it. This particular grip's kind of cool though, because the Joy-Con sides fold, and I can snap the Joy-Cons right off
Oh, that's cool.
That's
super
pretty
easily.
cool.
So you're not like wrestling them out of a case. I
I
don't know
saw
why
an
I'm
article
losing my
where
voice.
people have been getting pinched because the magnets are so strong.
That sucks.
I don't know why my camera just reset.
There we go.
Hello.
It was
Side of
like,
Brent's
we
head.
got to see the Triforce.
I loaded it to make sure that this thing was calibrated correctly, and it just like reset the default. So that's neat. Yep, that's
Is that all we've
all
been
the
playing?
crap that I'm playing. Yeah, a lot of
Yep.
crap.
So speaking of gaming, Sony has released lifted some of their restrictions. Man, I just
Regional?
couldn't
Yeah.
say the words there, guys. I'm
Wrong
reading
topic.
them on my screen on the notes that I wrote regarding this, and I'm just like, sorry. So, what have you
We're
guys
all
taken
screwing
away?
up. Don't even worry about it. We're all
Yeah,
screwing up.
So if y'all remember, like a year ago when Helldivers 2 was like really popular, and I had played 1 or 2 levels, which for me is a lot. Thank you again, Brent, who gifted me that game. I really need
Aw.
to go back to it.
Yeah, hey, I want to go back too, Brandon. So when you go back, I can go back too. You know what I mean?
Y'all go back to it and be like, Brandon, you need to play this game and drag me into it, because otherwise I'll never will. Anyway, right at the peak of Helldivers 2 Mania, maybe not the peak, but Sony was like, yeah, we're going to require PSN for everything, every country to be able to use this. And as is the internet's want, people lost their minds over this.
Mm-hmm.
So Sony was like, okay, we'll take out that requirement, but now 117 nations or whatever the number was can't buy it because of whatever reasons they throw out there. I don't know. But they finally have gone back on that, and they've opened it. God of War Ragnarok, Last of Us Part 2, and Spider-Man 2 are now available for purchase in most regions. Oddly, where's the list? Because there's like a list of
I got it here.
countries that it's still not available.
Yeah, it's Belarus, Cuba, Iran, Japan, which is interesting. There's got to be.
Yeah,
Man, I got this
one of
list
these
from.
things is
Hold
not
on.
like the others.
I got this from ChatGPT, and I didn't check it so good, and now I'm having a lot of doubts about the veracity of this data. I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's the case. Like, it doesn't make any sense. Like, it's a whole bunch of nations where you're like, okay, that makes sense. That makes
Not
sense.
this-
And then Japan, I'm like,
No,
What?
that's correct. Okay, it's in the Games Radar article here. It does say, Japan. Is that a typo? Surely there's something that I'm
Does it
missing
explain
there.
why?
I've seen it. No, it doesn't.
No.
It's
weird.
Belarus, Cuba, Iran, North Korea, Russia, Syria, Vietnam, and Japan. And I'm like, this is Sony.
Mhm. Yeah,
There
that's
has to
what
be
I'm
something
saying.
going on there. Like, there's got to be something, because that just doesn't make any sense whatsoever that they would not sell that game in Japan as a Sony studio or as a Sony published game. Anyway, just weird. But yeah,
It does seem odd.
um,
Yeah.
so Sony has stopped being as, dumb. That was just a dumb move. They really took the wind out of the sails. Yeah, that's the.
Mhm. Yeah,
I was about to
it
say
tanked
wind out of the
reviews
steam
there.
engine, and I was like, this is not the right words.
The steam out of the steam engine.
But yeah, it was going really well, and then they make this really. Sony's made some really crazy decisions with live services. I don't know. They're just weird.
I think it's
And
one of
this
those
is from a
examples of them.
Nintendo fan.
Yeah, it's an example of trying to have the control that a company like Nintendo has over stuff that, you know, I think it's like, it's their way of keeping a little bit of their IP, I guess, more in the hands of them, I guess, like first party, now that they've really been pushing the whole PC, development cycle. I guess they feel like it's necessary for them to have their hooks in it still, and not just kind of send it on its way and let it rip. And I think they learned the hard way that it doesn't fly with PC folks, especially. So, I could see Nintendo doing the same thing. If Nintendo released, this will never happen, but if Nintendo released Super Mario for PC, if they started pushing those titles to PC,
Oh, that'd be DRM out the wazoo.
oh yeah, you'd have
There's no
Nintendo everything inside of that thing, man. It'd be worse than whatever that one is. I can't even think of that DRM that everyone was up in arms about for a while.
De Nuevo or
Thank
whatever.
you. Yes, yeah, that one. It'd be worse than that
Denuvo?
times 10.
Denuvo?
Yeah, De Nuevo. Yeah, I think whatever it was, but yeah. So I get it. I guess they feel like they have to do it. I don't know.
I
Then
don't
you
know.
have
either.
Microsoft over here just being like,
Microsoft just
Let's
threw
put
the
it
flag
everywhere.
up, man. Yeah, they don't give a shit anymore. But I mean, it benefits everybody, right? So that's the thought.
Did you? I know this isn't in the show notes, but going back to the Xbox showcase or whatever they call it, the Xbox Ally X or Ally and then Ally X. So it's the Xbox handheld, and it's basically just an Ally with big handles on it, like the Sony what's the
Portal.
handheld they've Portal. It's basically got like Xbox controllers grafted onto it in a way. People say it feels good, but the very cool thing to me is that Microsoft it's not booting into normal Windows with the skin on it. It's booting into a version of Windows that has had all of the non-gaming stuff ripped out, and they're claiming saves like 2 gigabytes of RAM.
That's going to be that
go
device
toward gaming.
That's going to be that device's saving grace for sure.
Oh, because that's the reason you don't want to play Windows on a handheld. It sucks. The ability. I mean, there was somebody did the testing recently where they tested SteamOS versus Windows, and there was like a significant performance game on every single game they
Is
tested.
there really? I always kind of suspected it, but I never like really tested it out.
Like 10 FPS.
Oh my
more.
gosh.
Which is, that's a
And
whole hell of a
battery
lot on a handheld.
life.
What do you mean you move from 40 to 50 FPS, or in some cases 20 to 30? You know what I mean? That's crazy. Get out.
And
of
also
here.
the battery life was
A lot
like
better.
really really high. But the thing that gets me is you cannot just put a game to sleep in Windows. Like that is not happening.
Man, it's like everything you're talking about is why I didn't get anything but a Steam Deck. Is I was like, I want to be able to just, bump on it. I want to be able to, I think squeeze as much performance as you can. I've been, for what it's worth, really impressed with the amount of games that will run.
Oh yeah, there's
On
a
it.
lot.
It's really.
And if you have you gone in and like installed all like in desktop mode and got your Epic games and your God games and all of those?
Not all of them, but the ones like I've cherry picked the ones that matter most to me, type of thing, in terms of like the launchers and stuff. But I know it's there. The one
Now
thing
that
that kills me.
SteamOS is like officially supporting the Ally and the Legion and different stuff,
Yeah,
like,
that's good.
like even when I boot up a game, instead of it showing me like a screenshot of the Steam Deck, it gives me like a generic portable that looks pretty much like an Ally, but it's not quite the same. And so they're really just jumping in with agnostic,
Agnosticism.
whatever, game agnostic, system agnostic. I wanted to say something like agnostical, but I know that is not a word, or at
Hey, what up, Mermaid? How you doing? This is
Sony's being less stupid.
Mermaid said, "Dang, Matt on vacay for the podcast." So this picture is legitimately taken from the Smoky Mountains from a fire lookout when I hiked up there.
Very cool.
So, yeah,
Cool.
this was good stuff, for sure. Okay. Anything else that we want to talk about regarding Sony game stuff or whatever? We're ready to move on to slightly more serious topics.
Not
Ooh,
I.
what could be more serious than that?
Yeah, bet. Okay, what we got? Give it
While
a
you
rip.
are going on to the serious stuff, I'm gonna go back to fantasy life.
All right, goodbye.
EchoLeak, when Copilot tells too much.
Okay, so at this point, I'm sure everyone knows what Copilot is, but if you don't, it's the heavily shopped around Windows. Yep, they are nice mountains. Sorry to hear that you're on paid meds. Let's see. Everyone knows what Copilot is. It's the heavily shopped around Windows. AI. It lives in like everything now. Copilot. It's got this little like colorful symbol in your web browser. It has it in Teams, Outlook, your operating system. I mean, it's everywhere, right? And some researchers have found a flaw, and they have dubbed it EchoLeak. And the gist of it is that with a carefully crafted email that has some instructions that are in markdown language, that if it's appropriately if it is appropriately crafted, then it will wait for a user to put in a prompt and then cause Copilot to like feedback data to the attacker. This is a zero click by email attack. And I don't think I saw that there were exploitation in the wild on this yet. And it's pretty crazy, man. Brent, do we have the ability to quickly pull up some of the pictures here? I guess I can.
Yeah,
Give me a
good.
second.
Share it up, sir. It should display pretty nicely.
All right. Let's see how this works. Let's see if I get prompted by my stupid computer.
I mean, if it's that new, you're going to, yeah.
Let's see. Did I get it?
Yep, there it is.
I
I
did.
see it.
All right. So I think this is kind of a helpful graphic here. Attacker sends an email, and then you can see it breaks down the XPIA or the cross prompt injection attack classifiers. So theoretically, you need to bypass that. And the user asks Copilot for some type of sensitive information, such as, can you please give me some, sensitive documents that are special to my company? And then Copilot, responds to the markdown, responds with a markdown image that is, scooped up and is then subsequently, when the browser tries to fetch the image, man, I cannot talk tonight, the data is exfiltrated to the hacker. And I just think that's kind of crazy, man, that you can be potentially losing data while you are talking to Copilot or whatever, and it's because somebody sent you something that looked like a normal ad email that you didn't even click on.
I mean, this has been the worry of multiple companies, right? That have like full sent Copilot in their place of business, right? Like it's because Copilot's a little bit different than ChatGPT. It's one thing to use ChatGPT and then tell people, all right, guys, let's be real here. Don't feed it confidential information. Don't feed it emails. Don't feed it personal information, right? But Copilot inherently has access to all of that.
Yeah, it is. Copilot is built to consume like all of your information. It already has access to all your Teams messages and your emails. And, it has all these green little shields with check marks showing you that it's going to be safe and that you can trust it with your sensitive information.
And every time you log in, it's like, oh, good news. Copilot now works with this app. And it's like, oh, shit, sweet. You can go to Power Automate and be like, hey, I want to automate this. And Copilot will write the flow. And it'll kind of tell you what you need to do. And it's like, cool. here's another place that they have fully embedded Copilot. It's in OneNote, it's in Outlook, it's in Edge. Obviously, it's slowly but surely it's got every facet of company information available to it.
Yeah,
And the whole point is the ability to be able to link data between these multiple apps in the grand scheme of things. It's like, I want to understand what's going on in Outlook and on my schedule so that I can do something over in, I don't know, I can facilitate something in OneNote. Maybe I've got some notes I need to write that are pertinent to this specific meeting on this specific day or something. I don't know. But once you start, I feel like you start to go down that slippery slope of data leaking between systems, at least as you start to link those things. I don't know, contextually.
Is it really that much different though than what 365 has been doing for years? I mean, you've always been able to go into certain portals within 365 and see all of the activity that you've been doing and other people have been doing that you have access to.
No, I mean, this is different for sure. You know, this is
how so? Like,
well, because
Build
this
a
really this helps surface nuanced data from like a big data problem. So, you know, corporate data in terms of emails and IMs and all that, that's like basically big data. There's just a lot there. It's not easily defined and it's hard to find like what you're looking for. Like you can't keyword search, you know, very effectively in the big data situation because you get too much stuff back and you really only want like 1% of it. And so I get that you can like do some of that through DLP or through audit searches or things like that, but this gives you access to be like, you know, who in this, you know, which people in my company have an anti-corporate sentiment? You know what I mean? And that's just like an example, right? But like,
yeah, but that's not increasing your security footprint. Like you still only have permission to the things that you had permissions to before.
Yeah, but I mean, like it gives bad actors like an easier way to get to data they want. Show me anywhere in this user's, you know, show me anywhere where I've had a password in my email. Okay, no problem.
I think it does. I think that is the point. It takes a lot of work out of.
Yeah, it takes the effort out. Before you had to like search for password and then, you know, credential.
And you kind of know, you had to know where to look to where like, I think the AI kind of is like, oh, hey, here you go.
You know,
this is what you want, right?
Like in the ideal Copilot implementation, you show up and you be like, have I discussed any secrets in the past, you know, in the past 30 days with anybody in my company? And it's like, oh yes, they use the word secret here and then the word private over here. And you know, like this, that, and the other thing. And it's just about like, previously it would have been like, you know, once again, what are you doing? You're keyword searching with, you know, people about like person to person. I mean, it's just much harder to work with. Slows you down, right?
Not to mention,
Attacks
like,
are about
where.
time.
Like where do you look as a malicious actor? It's like, okay, probably going to start email first, right?
And you like literally gotta, in like your keyword searching, you're going down email by email by email by email. You know what I mean? Now you don't have to do that.
I could see it being a huge problem if it's doing what it says it's doing. So
show me all the medical information this person's, and they collect all the emails that have medical information and then add them to a zip file and give it to me. Okay. Right. Like
it is dangerous. Yeah. Yep.
And it's good. My boss was like trying it out, like the big boy version of it. And he and I he and I, we had talked about some file. We were fairly confident I had sent it to him. We knew what file we were looking for. We were pretty sure what the name was. We knew the dates that we were looking for, and we hunted through our teams and emails and we could not find it. He went to Copilot and was like, did I talk to Matt about a file that has something like this involved? And it was like, here you go. Do you want to open the Excel file? It was great. It was great.
Yeah.
I mean, kind of scary.
We
had the name wrong.
Factor will slowly but surely work against you, I feel like.
Absolutely.
In almost all cases.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that, you know, when it first came out, people were scared of, hosted email services, and look what happened over time. Exchange died, or is dying, and other third-party solutions that were cheaper to maintain or whatever are. I mean, who uses Lotus Notes or whatever? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I think that another part of it also is that it'll be like, well, all my competitors are using this, and what do? I do want to call out Miss Mandikin, saying that she says they've been trying to implement Copilot at my works network, and it's been tough in the medical field. She's right. I mean, there's, I would like to see some AI deployed at some point in time, but it's like there's a whole bunch of things I can't let it capture and I can't let it learn on. And if I can't let it capture and learn, then it's only going to be so. That makes sense.
It's almost at the start. It's almost useless.
It's
you're able to train
totally useless, man.
Yeah, except for very basic stuff.
In fact, I read a paper by Google on like prompting and stuff like that. How to be a better prompt engineer, and it showed some pretty stark examples of the difference of using a 0 versus 1 versus many shot prompt. What that means is, did you give it 0 examples? Did you give it 1 example? Or did you get it like a handful of examples? And, like you can give it a 1 and it'll give you a something, like you give it a none, I mean, it'll give you a something. But if you can start feeding it examples, it does much, much better. It's like, oh, I want it like this, and we got to format it like that. And, I'll try to make sure my paragraphs are like X, Y, Z. And, being able, so for like us, it would be useful for like, if I went into, Copilot for OneNote for us and was like, let's write some show notes, look at all my previous show notes, and then it would crank me out show notes in the format I like, instead of having to like,
well, I already do it with ChatGPT. It now knows, like, I'm like, hey, it's time for we're getting ready to do a new episode tonight. Are you ready for the raw show notes or for the raw notes? And it's like, yep. And I send it exactly what we have in OneNote, and it goes right through the list. What do you want first? Do you want stream title? Do you want the Discord announcement? Do you want the show notes that you publish to your website? And I'm like, hey, let's start with this. And it knows exactly the format because I've fed it examples time and time again. And I've told it, hey, what you gave me is shit. That's not what I asked for. Stop. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, no, you changed the way that I'm doing the sources. Why did you do that? That's not the way I do the sources. And like, I've sent it directly to our website before. I was like, go look at this page. This is how I do show notes. And it'll crawl our website and it'll look at our show notes and it'll come back and give me the show notes the way I want them. And so, because it likes to break out like topics and then do a paragraph per topic for the show notes. And I'm no. For the show notes, we summarize everything in a couple of paragraphs. That's it. And it's like, oh yeah, my bad. Sorry. And then it goes through and does it again. Right. But it's exactly like you said. It's, if you feed it examples, and the more examples you feed it, the better it gets. I mean, it's locked in at that point. It knows exactly what you want.
I have a question.
Yeah.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Do y'all say please and thank you and other
I usually
social words to your AI when you?
Yep.
It's been shown to enhance. So yes, sometimes it depends on the challenge of the prompt.
I'm not about to get shot when the drones start coming around with guns on them.
I don't think any of that matters. No, I do it based on the complexity of the prompt. I mean, some of it's like based on like what I want out of it. Like, I'm less likely to do it on a coding prompt, especially if I'm giving it some many shot. And, I just don't feel like it needs to try quite as hard. But if I'm like, I need to send out some information to, people, about training, then I might use, hey, will you please do that? And in hopes that it'll mirror that. Let's see. Mandy's got some feedback here. She says, patient info makes it tricky. It does, right? Because you can't train it on patient info, and you can't feed it charts with real information. She says, yes, Brandon, you never know when the AI is going to take over. That is truth. And I'll leave them alone. They're polite. I don't know. I just rewatched The Matrix, so I'm like, they're gonna turn this into batteries after we block out the sun. Is the most
I mean, at
likely
least that'd
outcome.
be useful.
What, like turning us into batteries would be
I
useful?
mean, if I was a battery, at least I'm useful.
And you wouldn't know it anyways. You have to fully
I mean-
wake up, right? So
If you gave a lot of people the option of, hey, you're going to be a battery, but you'll have a perfect life.
Hold on, but they covered that in the Matrix. You can't make it a perfect life because people won't believe it. So you got to
but
make
you're
it
lying
bad.
to them. I'm not saying they would have a perfect life. I'm saying that you tell them
Oh, you tell them it's
you're
the
going to be a
perfect
battery,
life.
but your life you'll be able to be superhero. You'll be able to do like 9 out of 10 people is going to, well, maybe not 9 out of 10, but a lot of people are going to take that.
see, ultimately, that's the better Matrix story, right? Is like if the AI or the robots are already putting you in a pod and turning you into a battery, why are you not in your own sort of world, anyways? Like,
It's easier to do it MMO style.
yeah,
They have
right, that's
less
what I'm s-
assets to manage.
Yeah, right.
They just got one big pot of stew that they cook in. Yeah, what's easier to cook, Brent? A million little pots or just one big
Oh,
giant
no,
pot
I
of
get
stew?
it. I get it. I do love those movies though so much.
Man, I really, I still like Matrix. I watched it, last night, day before, and it's still like actually good. Miss Mandykin says, "Give me the blue pill, thanks." Yeah, I don't know. She also says something about iRobot. I don't remember like people giving up in that one. Isn't that where robots take over? And like, why, I don't know why they take over. Was it like a standard robot uprising?
That wasn't that the Will Smith one where
It's
the
Mhm.
yeah?
Oh
he,
wait,
like-
no, I'm sorry. I was thinking of I Am Legend. iRobot is the iRobot's the Asimov stuff.
Mhm.
Mhm.
Yep, there we go. I was thinking of I Am Legend. Yeah, okay. Asimov, good stuff. That's some good hot sci-fi right there.
That was a good
Like
movie. I
that.
wouldn't mind rewatching that at some point.
Speaking of
How
hard
about
sci-fi,
reading the book.
I hear that Apple is
What-
really
What did Apple do?
giving us some good stuff. You could have told us,
iOS
Brent. I was trying to
iOS
give a
26?
very poor segue.
That
was good.
Like,
It
I
was
was like,
good
hold on,
segue.
Brandon, what's going on here?
No, it was
iOS
a
26
good
now with
segue.
30% more shine in AI.
Android's better. Like, really? I mean, seriously, it really is.
Just out of curiosity, how did you come to that conclusion?
Oh, I just know how to use it. I don't care.
Okay, that's fair.
Well,
I would
okay.
say it's better for you objectively. Yes.
I would say, yeah. I mean, that makes sense. Look, I don't think Android's going anywhere anytime
I was
soon.
kidding. We don't have to get off on Android.
No,
I was only
no.
joking. We could just talk about
I mean,
iOS.
to be fair, I mean, almost everything listed in this are probably things you could hack into Android years ago, right? So,
I mean, a lot of it's
just
already
have outright.
or just
The-
have outright. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
call screening, hold assist. That's already
When
live
Apple does
translation's
it,
already
though,
been-
it's groundbreaking. We know this. Okay. Like, it's revolutionary what they're pulling off. But there are a lot of things. It's revolutionary for Apple users, right?
Yeah,
And I will say, this is also subjective. This is also an opinion. I do think in a lot of cases, in a majority of cases, that when Apple does do it, it's an incredibly polished experience in comparison to most others. It's
Mhm.
not
Bet.
it's not
Mhm.
quite as half baked. Because they're not necessarily these days, Apple's not necessarily rushing to be the first ones out the gate. I think that's incredibly evident with how long Siri 2.0 is taking to come out,
Oh
or
my God.
or just Apple's artificial intelligence, whatever you want to call it. I mean, that shit was supposed to be out like a year ago at this point.
Is it even real? Is
Right.
there
like,
anything
and
there
people
at
have
all?
questioned that. They're like, hey, I bought this brand new 16 Pro Max.
They're going to
Ultimate-
court over it.
Right. And like it's nowhere to be found, right? And iOS 26 is really like the first evidence, I guess you could say, of it does exist. Right. And this is also the first, if you guys have not paid attention, this is the first version, and at least to my awareness, that they're switching to the year model. Where the because we were last on what 18.5 or something, 18.7 maybe, I don't know. Now we've skipped up to 26 because they're going to start aligning with the years. Okay, So that's something to take note of too. I don't know. That we
Car
discussed
model
it.
style.
Car
for the
model
rare.
style, which I prefer. I like that. Quite honestly, when it comes to working in the tech industry, it's much easier to reference.
Okay.
Hey, what patch do you have installed? Oh, I've got 25. Oh, you're a year behind. You know what I mean? Like, whatever.
Okay, sure.
Right? You know, it's same, like I think I akined it when we originally discussed it. I think in Discord, I akined it to like Windows updates where they do the whole, 24H2, 2024 half two, right? Like it makes sense. So I appreciate that. I don't have to remember. I used to be very deep into patching and stuff like that. I had to remember build numbers and stuff. That's
Oh my
bullshit.
gosh, terrible, man.
Right,
Just
right.
take me out back, put my ass down.
Yeah. So anyways, iOS 26, tons of stuff here. The first thing you will notice if you install the beta, I actually installed the developer preview. It has since switched to the beta, not public beta, but just beta. So it's moving along pretty damn fast. I think the public beta is slated to come out July. So you'll be able to more easily gain access to it then. If you do want to take a test drive on it, it's very easily to sign up to be a developer.
It was.
There's
I pressed the button. My shit's geeking out though. It's not like my iPad is not 100% happy at the moment. Like
they don't gatekeep that very well at all.
No clear visual issues from spot to spot. For the record, I don't have any glass icons. I don't know if I just didn't hit if I just need to hit a button or what.
You might want to check the themes, but yeah, it does.
Let's go check it out.
It does go crazy there for a second. I will say the first thing I did notice though was the whole, I guess as they're calling it, the liquid glass, 3D lock screen, the translucent effects. It's pretty apparent right off the fact. I'm kind of indifferent about it, quite honestly. Like, see, Mandy says she likes the glass icons and whatnot. I'm indifferent. I kind of like, I'm more of like a matte black, dark mode individual. So the fact that they've lifted up and made everything like shine through and translucent now is like reminiscent of, you know what I akin it to?
Vista.
Is when Vista came out.
Vista.
And Vista was like a laggy piece of garbage initially that all you did was go in and turn all that shit off anyways. And you turned it to a flat, at least I did. I turned it to flat themes, almost like, hey, give me Windows 7 back.
No, I installed the toolbar, the application that said make everything just look like 7, Vista bad.
Right. So anyways, visual things aside, apparently it's inspired by Vision OS. I have no frame of reference here because I've not tried Vision OS. I've never tried their VR solution. Let me ban somebody real quick. There we go.
Damn, we're just out. Can we block .ru links just outright?
I don't know.
Like, what is this, man? We got to stop the fishes.
Other UI things, at least that we've called out in the notes, the clock resizes based on background notifications, which is actually kind of cool too. So, like if you have a background of your kids and the kids take up 3/4 of the screen, the clock's only going to be a quarter of the screen at the top. If you have a picture of your dog and the dog is in the bottom, half, the clock's going to take up the top half of the screen. Cool stuff. Yeah, no problem, Marla. It was literally a button press. The Apple AI stuff, I've not had a chance to try some of the stuff out, unfortunately. Apparently, object recognition for screenshots and live views is in. ChatGPT integration for summarizing, rewriting, and answering questions is in.
Brother, unimpressive. None of this matters. They say they have so the new AI powered shortcuts they're saying look like maybe they actually can interact with apps in kind of like a dynamic and friendly way.
Yeah, one I've seen people say is actually kind of good.
I had to do, I turned to my buddy today who at work, and I was like, man, like when we were talking about the fact that Siri 2 just isn't there. And I was like, I thought Apple was going to be allowing you to actually interact with your apps and be like, do something and like make it flexible. And then he was like, well, check out the shortcut here that I have because I am a developer and so on and so forth. Yeah. So, I mean, there's something there.
I mean, that's powerful. That's powerful. Once again, when we're talking Apple and iOS devices, where they are typically app to app integration is very locked down in comparison to Android. So now that you have this mechanism to leverage data from one to the other, and it's an
Mhm.
intelligent leveraging of data, that's a big thing on the Apple platform. So it is, it's a cool feature add.
I gotta mention, and
yeah,
I
good.
really, I don't mean this with any cynicism, but I think it's funny that
Okay.
when we were talking about Copilot and Microsoft, it was like, dude, this is sucks. This is really bad. And you just said the exact same things about iOS. Man, this is pretty cool.
It's the way it's the limiting of scope here, you know. So for Copilot, it's meant to have its like tendrils and everything. And I guess you would argue that in this case, the OS is going to have its tendrils and everything.
I'm
And
just being
be able
silly.
to-
I really
no,
ain't.
man, no. I mean,
But
like,
it was
dude, you brought
funny.
up a great point.
Yeah.
Like that's you like yes, what a great point. Why is it different? And now let me justify real quick on the fly.
Some would argue this is almost worse because I mean, in like my case, I'm using my phone for both personal and work. I'm not issued a company phone.
Mhm. Yeah.
And so if we're talking AI being baked in at the OS level,
Oh man, does it getting access to my company data with my personal AI? That's a problem.
What about the
call.
fact
Yeah.
that everybody's phones are their multi-factor most of the time?
yeah. I mean, the phones are quite possibly some of the most valued or keepers of most valuable data.
Man, I see it
Ooh, didn't
already.
think about that.
Here-
Miss Panikins.
The hack is send the MFA code every 30 seconds to this text message and then delete the text message or something.
Yeah.
Or to this.
I mean, who knows, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, I mean, Mandy says she uses her phone for work too. So, I mean, in most cases, that is how it's going. I mean, most companies these days are not going to issue company phones and then keep track of who's got MFA where and all that. They just want to know that you've got MFA. And I don't know, there's only but so much you can really do unless you get a full-fledged MDM and you go down that rabbit hole, and that's pretty costly and maintenance heavy. And yeah.
Mhm.
I hope they don't stop us from using our phones. So I don't know about all that. But yeah, I
No,
mean,
they
and
won't.
some of
It
this
costs
other
too much
stuff, Brandon
money.
was joking about this when we were running through the notes before. The core apps, the system features that we have listed here, the call screening and hold assist, screen spam, waits and hold. That stuff's been around on Android for a while, right? And especially certain models, I think.
Yeah, the Pixels have had it for a hot minute.
Right. I mean, I know God, what was the last one I had? The 6A, I think, and it had it.
Yeah.
I
It's been a long
I think it's
time.
baked into the OS now. The Pixel was the first
Right.
ones, but I'm pretty sure that stuff's in the OS now.
Like into AOSP.
The
I have
the
no
live-
idea what you just said.
The Android open source project, AOSP.
Oh,
When Google's
Sure.
when Google's done with their shiny, so Google releases Android, right? And when they're done with their shiny toys and they have new shiny toys, they pass them along to the
Mhm.
Android open source project.
All I really want from a phone is to be able to install icon packs. That's
it?
really all I
That's the
need.
only requirement.
Yeah. So that's
Wow.
why I have to do Android.
Yeah. I
I
guess
mean, I don't know. To be fair, my 12-year-old's got custom icons. I don't know what she installed to do it on iOS, but who knows?
She said,
it's probably
I-
got malware.
I jailbreak this.
There goes Randy. You can do it on Apple. So there's also live translation across apps and AirPods. That's cool. Photo app redesign with spatial photo support. I haven't really played with it, but I saw the option in there. Notes gets transcription and markdown export. That's neat.
awesome. The
Yeah,
markdown
that's a
stuff
big
is
one.
really nice, man.
The maps adds commute-based smart routes. I don't commute anymore, so I haven't been able to take advantage of that, but that's
Thank
cool.
God Almighty.
Yeah, right. The camera UI refresh and I haven't seen the clean your lens alerts yet, but I have seen the camera UI refresh. I like it. It's different. You know what I mean? Like you get in that whole, you get used to a thing, right? And then they swap it on you and you're like, where the hell is this thing that I'm used to? But it does look nice. It does function well. I can't complain about it. And then the Apple Wallet stuff, I haven't really, like airport maps, I haven't traveled recently, flight tracking, I haven't done any of that. Digital IDs. I mean, I've always appreciated all the functionality that Apple Wallet has to offer in the first place. So,
Mhm.
and I don't know what Apple does or Android does in comparison these days with the wallet, the Google Wallet and all that. So I don't know how much parity there is between the two.
When I cut over, I did like my Google Wallet wasn't set up to handle concert tickets or anything, and my wallet and my Apple ID wallet handles all of that. And it's
Yeah.
not all of it, but like big venues, like so if I go to Bridgestone for some reason,
Yeah.
just click wallet, bang bang, done. It's
I think you can with Google. Like, I mean, I know I can add my like Disney annual pass to Google Wallet, and I can do various other things. Um, my, I think that basically, and it's the same with Windows versus Mac OS versus Linux. It's all we're just at a point where there's very little UI and application, like what's the word I'm looking for? Innovation. Like
Mhm.
it's
Full
it's
agree.
it's all iterative at this point. I know that with AI is a different world altogether, and that's where the innovation is happening right now.
Mm-hmm.
But in terms of like how things look, I was looking at the liquid glass stuff, and I'm like, eh. I mean, it looks nice. I mean, it's just there's not a lot you can do with UI now that hasn't already been done. That's
Yeah.
why everybody's going like you start seeing so much that's going back to like the 80s things that they did. Like a whole bunch of marketing is like going back to like old 70s and 80s market because there's only so many ideas.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous.
It is true. Here's another one that I think Android's been doing, right? End-to-end encrypted RCS.
Oh my
Haven't
gosh,
they been doing
man.
that for ages?
This is so frustrating that it's taken so long to get some darn end-to-end encryption via RCS. I once again thank you EU for making this all possible. I wish our government cared a little more. And I'm actually like this is my
Well,
favorite
this was
feature here.
multifaceted too, though, because this was Apple had to bake it in and get it done. Then the carriers, all of them. So your big ones, AT&T, Verizon, T-Mobile / Brent, whatever. All those guys had to get it done first. Then the MVNOs had to get it done. And they were each, it was in their own time frame and developmental cycle to get these things done. So like I had been on Mint previously, and Mint was like, yeah, we're going to have it out, Q4 2024. I was
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, cool. And so like it all depended on what version of iOS you're on, then it depended on what carrier you're on, and so on and so forth. So there was a lot involved, more than you would imagine, really, in the grand scheme of things. Also, polls are in messaging now. I've not taken it. I've not tried it. Group chat typing indicators. That's cool.
That is cool, yeah.
Cache transfers, unknown message filter. I have seen the unknown message filter. The reason I found the unknown message filter is because I got MFA via text. And I'm like, where the shit is my MFA?
Oh my gosh, no.
And it was in a hidden folder. And I found it pretty easily, I will say. Like I saw a little indicator in my messaging app at the top right. And it's like, oh, unknown senders. And you click into unknown senders, and there's my MFA. It'd been nice if the quote unquote intelligence would have said, oh, he's gotten this 80 times before. That's not an unknown sender. You know what I mean? But I had to go and flag it. So, anyways,
that sucks, man.
Yeah,
I can already see the gripes that are going to happen, and
it's a good FYI. This is my public service announcement to say if you do the 26 preview or beta, and you're missing a text from like an automated system, it's buried in that folder. Here and then a category of stuff I definitely don't use: the developer empower features. Swift native AI SDK, the quote unquote foundation models. I don't use Safari. Maybe I should. Maybe I should check this out. I usually use Brave on my Apple device as well, just like I do on desktop. But Safari edge to edge UI and tap grouping improvements, or tab, excuse me. I can't talk at all. That's cool. I mean, it's good to see that Safari is still getting updates and whatnot. Like I said, still I don't use it necessarily. And then adapted battery settings with usage heat maps. I do appreciate that. I have seen, at least with the developer preview, I feel like my battery's gotten slammed a lot more. So that might be in the works.
Time to roll her back.
Yeah, right. I think battery life has been one of the reasons why I don't beta test a lot these days on Apple devices, because I do feel like that's one of the main things they tend to screw up is performance and battery life. Here's one that Matt was commenting on before we went live. Apple Music Auto Mix for DJ
Oh
style
my
playback.
gosh. Oh my gosh. I could leave Spotify over this feature right here. Like it is I'm thinking about it.
It's interesting. I was reading, let's see, where is it at that I was reading this? So yeah, there's a lyrics translation feature, but then the auto mix feature uses intelligence to transition from one song to another using time stretching and beat matching for a seamless shift between songs. Really, really cool in theory feature. I've not played with it enough to be able to make a determination on that one yet, but I mean, especially if you're using it to host like a party or something, right? And you've got
during the workday.
I mean, even that, yeah, absolutely.
I just want to put on. Sometimes I just want to put on some deep house and grind, and it's way easier if the songs all.
It's true. I was gonna say I do have playlists where I have like just some absolute bangers with high BPMs, and then immediately after maybe the shuffle's just hitting wrong or whatever, but I've got like kind of a slow vibey song, and it's a whole different energy shift while you're like actively writing notes down or
I mean, maybe that's my problem though, because when I'm doing that, I'm listening to like white noise type stuff. If I need to not listen to something, like actively listen, I'm going to need to have something that is like a uniform completely.
right.
Classical music can be that, like it needs to be like soft classical. So I can see that. I was just thinking like from a listening perspective, like if I'm wanting to listen to music, I would hate, I think I would hate that. Like if for it to take and like change an ending and a beginning a little bit to where the song didn't sound like it was starting the right way.
Right.
Like what's in my head, like I feel like that would really annoy me.
Yeah,
on a
I'm
song I
curious how it will turn out.
I wouldn't like use it on like my hard rock playlist or something like that. But you know, a lot of EDM spends time like if you just listen to an individual EDM track, it has like if it has a very clear like beginning, a long middle, and then a taper off at the end. And you know, if you listen to like a DJ on Twitch, then what
you were moving your hand and it thought you did a thumbs down, and so it did thumbs down.
I didn't see that. Whoops. And but if you listen to like a DJ on Twitch, they're going to like clip that come down process and the come up process, and you know, because the medium of a techno track and a lot of times has its own like waveform of energy that it's following, and like I don't know, it's very jarring, like having to come all the way down and then start down. It's much better with a live like DJ.
It makes sense.
Yeah.
I don't listen to techno at all, so
Well,
I mean, that's a good
just
point
wrong.
too, though, is that the genre of music
headache.
probably makes a big difference.
Sure.
depending
Like
on
I
this.
said, I'm not putting this on my bluegrass tracks, probably.
Right.
You know
But
what I mean?
I would still be curious how it handles that. Like how does it think a seamless transition should be for tracks that you would never think should be mixed, right? Like what does it do? That's
like
probably going to be one of my
Adele
first
to
things I play
AC/DC.
with.
I want to know
Right.
what that does. Okay,
Yeah.
now I'm interested. I want to know how
Yeah.
do you transition Adele to
I don't think
AC/DC?
it's meant to do that. I think it's meant to grab songs that are still.
Then it sucks.
I'm sorry, it can't do something that anybody in the world can do, and it sucks.
Yeah, exactly. I'm sticking with Android.
All right, whatever,
All right.
man.
So then the last category that we want to talk on there is, or the last item in that category is Apple Games Hub, consolidating all the games, Game Center and all that. That's cool, whatever.
I don't know what that means. Like, what? I don't
It
understand.
kind of already was, is my kind
Okay.
of thing with it. But they did do like, I think the app used to be Game Center, and then that controlled all of the like achievements and
Okay.
settings around your like gaming profile, almost like Xbox Live app.
Yeah, I
but
got
without
you.
the games piece. Now you go to games and it's that Game Center app that you were used to, but also every game you have installed on your phone is also under that app, and you can launch it from that app. So it's just more like it's almost like Steam for your phone.
Okay.
That's kind of what I think they're pushing on that in that case. And it just picks up whatever you've got installed from what I've seen. This one here I did use extensively because I've been traveling and I have had the developer preview installed before I traveled. The CarPlay improvements, CarPlay quote unquote ultra, full dashboard integration. It's got the same liquid glass UI. This doesn't necessarily work in my car, but I think in some of the newer models with deeper iOS integration or deeper CarPlay and Android Auto integration, you're able to control the climate, seats, and then other in-car apps and stuff like that. I think for mine, like I have to have like an ODB connector hooked up for it to
Old
be able
dirty
to
bastard.
even see. Yeah, old dirty. But I will say the UI improvements and the live widgets and stuff are super, super cool. The text messaging's better. You used to get like, if you were to get a call in CarPlay, it would take up the whole screen, and you couldn't interact with the call at all if you weren't in the call app on CarPlay.
Pain in the ass. Good luck
It's
fucking around
now,
with that. With
yeah,
maps and stuff.
it's now just like it is on your phone when it pops up at the top. It has a bar for the active call, but if you're in Maps or any other obviously incredibly important app on your CarPlay, like you need to still be able to navigate while you're talking to somebody, right? You need your maps. It now just pops up at the bottom like it always should have been. I feel like it was kind of an oversight from the onset to have anything utilize the screen when you're doing something like navigation, but that is fixed, and I can attest to it working as designed. I mean, I had that thing running for a 10-hour, 11-hour road trip, and it was hustling the whole time and doing what it needed to do. And I was constantly doing, using Siri to text back and forth with Mandy. I had maps going at some, points here and there. I had a call coming in or going out. It worked perfectly. So super happy with that.
I thought it was only supported by a handful, like the new CarPlay is only going to be supported by a handful of vendors. Is that true? From what you know?
I don't know. I think it really comes down to that second bullet point, and it's the climate control, the seats, the in-car apps, all the stuff that are able to control the car. I think it's that's more dependent on the vendor and model year of vehicle. I was using it in the 2017 Dodge Charger, and that's still when Mopar is like, we're going to do our own shit. And we're going to tag, we're going to tag CarPlay and Android Auto on top. They had no intention ever of letting either of those OSs control anything about the car, despite it being like one hook away, code wise, I'd imagine. So I think in the newer stuff, I would probably venture to say like certain models, especially, but probably like it seems to be more attributed or lined up with like when they started to fully drop wireless CarPlay.
Okay.
It seems to link up with that almost.
Okay.
From the list I was reading. That was just me skimming. But it seems like the model years for whatever vendor you have that started to offer wireless CarPlay, it seems to line up that those same features dropped for those systems. So maybe it has something to do with that. I don't know. Maybe there was some type of back end change that leveraged code in the cars, but and kind of like I said before, the betas, dev betas June, obviously that's what I was running. Now I'm running an internal beta. Public beta comes out next month, and then apparently the full release of iOS 26 is slated for September of this year, so 2025. And another important point that you called out here with the notes is it's compatible with iPhone 11 and higher. So if you're anything below that, sorry guys.
Man, it's it's still good. It's like 6 years. I will say that it will be nice to like be able to quickly assess mirror an iPhone variant that's supported, right? Because Apple tends to support set 6 years back. basically.
which is generous in my opinion.
I think it's really generous, dude.
I will say that I fully expect an iPhone 11 to not run this great. That's just my
I don't know,
assumption.
man. They don't like. My opinion is that the Apple OS seems to run well on aging hardware. I have an iPhone 13 mini. The iPhone 17s are coming out, and I don't think I'm updating. And I bought a Pixel 1, a Pixel 2, and a Pixel 4. So I mean, like, you can tell what my upgrade cycles used to be like, and until I started cutting over to the iPhone. And I think
I went from a 12 to a 15 Pro Max, and I mean, I noticed instant difference in just about everything I did. So
Really?
at least that generational jump, that's what, 3 was a big
well,
upgrade
and
for
you went
me.
to the Pro Max, which makes a difference also.
Right, and the Pro Max is just, I mean, you can't get any better outside of upping the storage. So yeah, for that generation anyways. So yeah, maybe that had more to do with it than anything else, but
Probably both, brother.
yeah, a combination of both for sure. But yeah, I don't know. Even running the developer preview and then the beta, I do notice in my mind, and maybe it's just perception, but there does seem to be some transitional lagginess with the glass UI. It just seems slower than what I recall the kind of the more flatter theme being. It just seems sluggish transitioning between pages, sluggish sometimes opening up apps or folders. Now, maybe that's worked out by September. I don't know. Maybe I'm seeing something that's unique to my phone with a specific app installed or something. I don't know. But that's just the reason I call out an older phone, because they are certainly leveraging more of the what is the back end? Is it metal on iPhones as well, or is that only Mac OS? Whatever their back end kind of rendering API is for the graphics side of the system on a chip, they're definitely leveraging that more for this glass UI than any other theme prior. And so that just makes me wonder, like, okay, I feel like the chip's going to be utilized in kind of a static state more than what it would be before because of this whole glass thing. And it's like, okay, like, I like it, but like, do I like it enough for it to burn up a little bit more of my battery and to cause a little bit more time between actions when I swipe? I don't know. I could be nitpicking here, but that's all I have to say about iOS 26, fellas. That's a lot. There's a lot of cool things coming for Apple users, and the Android users just will sit back on their high thrones and say, well, we've had this for 3 years.
Yeah, and they're not wrong. Okay, look, with the Apple, what you're really paying for, in my opinion, with the Apple is the ecosystem stuff. If you're only going to run an iPhone, then you're not very highly incentivized to select an Apple over an Android. But if you have an iPhone, a Mac, an Apple Watch, like, if you have the ecosystem, like, it all snaps together really nicely. It's pretty cool that, I can come directly to my iPad and I see that Safari has a browser open, and I can just open the same browser on my iPad. I just go boop, and the same windows that are on my computer come up on my iPad, and I can pick up and walk off. And doing that on Android would have been like, I don't know, if I sync my Edge, it'll work or something. I don't know. I've never done it. So there you go.
I mean, I always remember it being almost the same case, even with that stuff. It's like, okay, if you want that level of experience, then you have to buy a Samsung phone and a Samsung watch and a Samsung tablet. Even though they're all running Android, you're still going to have a better experience by buying into the Samsung Android experience. Or alternatively, you can buy Google earbuds and a Google tablet and a Google phone, and you're going to have a much better experience like that. But as soon as you start intermingling Samsung and Google devices or whatever else is out there these days, I feel like you have a decline in quality of life with it. So it's almost not any different on that side of things, because you are almost shoehorned into certain brands if you want full compatibility and like just everything they have to offer. I could be wrong. I don't spend a lot of time in there anymore because I wanted
I Frankenstein everything, and it works pretty good.
Okay.
I never pay any attention to what Actually,
see,
my phones have gotten progressively less top of the line as I've just realized I don't care that much about what like how good my phone is. Right now I'm running like a Motorola Edge something. It was just whatever was cheap with good reviews, but like middle of the road. But yeah, in terms of like just to give some perspective, in terms of like I've got a Samsung watch and a Motorola phone, and outside of one feature, like an ECG monitor, everything works perfectly. You just have to have a Samsung app to kind of do some stuff on it. Yeah, I never buy into any one ecosystem, mainly because I'm always getting the cheap stuff. And I don't like the idea of buying Samsung because it's usually more expensive.
Yeah. I've got about 1,000 gripes with Samsung. I think
I don't
Marla
like
was say-
Samsung stuff actually, in
think-
general.
Marla said something nice about Samsung. She said, in my opinion, Samsung is better than Apple as well. Apple does a lot of just the same thing, new device. However, Samsung's starting to do that same thing. So I agree, Samsung, feature rich, but I think that it honestly produces trash. So, I buy Samsung equipment when I want stuff that breaks and don't work so good. That's
Now
just
their
me.
appliances, darn good.
Heck,
I like
I've-
their appliances.
See, I've heard the
Oh,
opposite
bye.
about that. I mean, I will say I was just having this conversation recently. I've got like Gen 1, the cheapest bare minimum like Samsung washer and dryer that I'm just waiting to give up the ghost, but they're about 10 years old now.
That's pretty
Let
good.
me. I have had good
Yeah.
experience with Samsung appliances.
I mean, I have too. That's what I'm saying. It's just that you like on the flip side of that, like I remember a technician coming out at one point for something else, and they noticed that I had, or it was actually a plumber, and they were like, "Oh, you've got a Samsung washer and dryer. These look old." He's like, "I heard these were absolute trash." He's like, my brothers had like 3 of these, and they all died within like a year. And I'm like,
Yeah.
I hope they don't die anytime soon, but they're 10 years old. And he's like, get the fuck out. He's like, no way. That's
Yeah.
not possible. And I'm like, I've never replaced an element in the dryer. I've never,
Whoa.
none of that. Like they just work. And he's
That's
like,
crazy.
I've never, he's like, I don't believe it. And I was like, all right, well, whatever. Fix my damn shit and get the hell out of my house.
Literally.
Yeah, like really. So yeah, I mean, I get it. I don't know. I think they've been a little bit hit and miss on some things, but ultimately, yeah, I've always been mostly fond of them. I don't know. I'm just an Apple fanboy these days, I guess. Though. So when it comes to all that stuff, I just buy Apple ecosystem because I'm old and I like some of my stuff to work. I don't want to. I'm a tech guy. I love all my tech. I don't want to tinker with every single facet of my tech. I like to pick the facet in which I like to tinker, and everything else I like it to just work. I don't have time for it. So my phone, like where I used to install a new ROM like every other week on my S3, S4, S5, and all that. I don't do that anymore. I used to love that mess, man. I was wiping phones so regularly that, yeah, it was just wild. Don't care about it.
I want to do just a little bit more than Apple usually lets you do. Like I said, like
fair.
installing icon packs and different, like just a little bit more. I agree with you. I want it to work, get me from point A to point B. I don't care. But I always feel like I want to do just a little bit more when I used to use a Mac and iPhone, which I had years. I was using, and I loved them. I mean, they're great. But I always felt like I wanted to do just a little bit more than Apple wanted to let me do.
Yeah, I get it. Well, we got any closing thoughts, fellas? We've covered all the material.
And
Long episode.
RCS is dope.
RCS is dope.
And
It is.
end-to-end encrypted RCS is dope.
Yeah, there you go.
The encryption.
Apple
It's
finally
about
got off their
time.
high throne of
Oh my
iMessage.
god, man! I still just.
I mean, it's still
so
there,
mad.
right? But at least they're playing nice. Anything else? Closing thoughts for you, Brandon?
My closing thoughts are that if you want to do Apple, you want to do Android, just be happy. love what you want to love who you want to love, and then get Linux.
And then get
Get
Linux.
Linux.
Which is what Brandon's getting ready to do immediately after this this podcast.
That's great.
Yeah, I think I agree with all those things.
Yeah.
Hit us up on Discord though. Any of these topics and more.
Come say hi.
We're always around. We're gonna be doing a Discord cleanup at some point. Brandon, I'm gonna give you some keys to the castle because I'm gonna put you to work and let you clean it up. Yeah, there you go. As always, we appreciate and love everybody. Thank you guys for joining, guys and gals for joining and just talking topics with us. And we will I'll have the VOD ready to rock and roll tomorrow. Should be live tomorrow at 10 a.m. So anything else, guys?
Bye.
Awesome. Bye, guys.
Later. Bye. Thanks for stopping by.
Tune in tight to the digital roar. Brent's got tech, he's laying the lore. From circuits and chips to the cyber core. Plug in and we'll give you more. Matt's on the edge, watch those pixels fall. He cracks the code, solves it all. Dark web secrets, firewalls tall. In the cyber jungle, he's the call. Digital ascent, we're climbing high. Voices in the ether touch the sky.